Welcome back to the Travel Agency New Year podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Kay, and we're on day 156. I'm going to talk about the destination wedding planning process. This is like actually planning a destination wedding, not just heavily relying on the in-destination day of coordinator. I do have a course all about this. It's called Become a Destination Wedding Concierge. If you are interested in actually planning the event side, and I go over the difference between a planner and a coordinator and a designer. And there's day of, week of, and month of coordinators. I will say right now, most of the coordinators that are included, your on-site dedicated coordinator that you see in wedding packages, that is like a 2-month coordinator. They're really there to coordinate the different vendors that are approved through the resort. And that's about it. And so why I'm going into this is what I'm saying. I had probably 10 years in the wedding industry, just like locally, before I got into travel and started doing destination weddings. And I knew I wanted to offer destination wedding planning because I looked at my competition and it's literally people charging $500 to $1,000 to throw a room block contract together. And like minimal assistance with planning events. And I was like, oh, well, I can do that and I can charge a higher fee and I can like get a lot of business. And it worked. And then I started teaching some other agents like that were on my team that are on their own now, the same thing. And actually one of them just got their first $6,000 fee for it. So it's a very lucrative thing to get into, like actually knowing how to plan a wedding, not sending them to the resort and maybe having like one offsite vendor. There's a lot of intricacies to wedding planning. So anyway, this episode is going to be a quick overview of the destination wedding planning process, tips for travel advisors. If you are interested in really being authority in the wedding industry, what my experience has been, and general timelines of what you can expect to help your bride and or groom or both, whatever, your couples with their destination weddings. So this is just, even if you just want to like level up your destination wedding services, that's what this episode's about. You don't have to do the full planning. If you want to, head over to elevatewithrachelk.com, click on the courses, go enroll and become a destination wedding concierge. You can do that. And I teach you which flowers are local in certain areas and how to select offsite vendors that are reputable and not going to rip you off and how to vet them and create your own vendors list. And that's another revenue stream, by the way. In some cases, sometimes they send you referral fees. How you can save your money or save your couple's money for their events budget by using offsite vendors, even with the vendor fees. There's all of that in there and so much more. Anyway, this is just like the glossy overview. Now, in the course, I talk about, I like to plan weddings 15 to 18 months is my sweet spot. If it's more than 24 months out, chances are that couple most likely will end things before the wedding. If it's under 12 months, if you do offer planning services, it's going to feel a little more rushed and hectic. So I like the sweet spot of 15 to 18 months out because you can secure your offsite vendors if you're using them, which a lot of the couples that I've worked with have never used the resort's hair and makeup team, never really used the resort's photography team. Sometimes I help them get like custom favors created in destination, things like that. So you can secure those offsite vendors. You can secure pricing sometimes. Sometimes you can, like, if you start the planning process and you get a quote, let's say around 15 months out, this is why they all pulled back, I think, because I'd be like, nuh-uh, coordinator, you told me it was $1,100 for this 8 months ago. And then they'd be like, price change. I'm like, not when it's in writing. So, but you can secure some pricing in advance if you get that far out and you can sense. If you've been in the wedding industry, you know every 2 to 3 years the packages slightly change or the price changes. Usually it increases. So you can lock in like those sweet AMR Beyond Memorable packages. Oh man, those were the bee's knees. You could lock those in. And I remember I was still securing them in 2022 for 2024 weddings. And the dates weren't even open yet on the calendars for resorts, like some Dreams properties. But I had done enough weddings with the one that they wanted to go with that they held the date for my couple. And we could go ahead with the room block, which saved their guests so much money. All right, you get more time for them to readjust their budgets and their wants, because guess what? That always happens. That always happens. I would say anymore, 60% of the time when I was doing my weddings and consultations, I'm phasing out of that now. When I got someone 18, 19 months out and they're like, I just really want simple decor. It's going to be so easy. Or if they were like right under a year out and they'd say that, they would completely change their minds. This is why I don't like the under a year because I'd be like, all right, here's your estimated budget, like costs for all of this. And then they'd be like, well, I need $1 million in flowers now. And it's like, okay. But it gives them more time to readjust their budget and their wants. It also gives their guests more time. If you can secure their wedding date around 15 months out, and then you can set up the block and get the invitations. They get their invitations in the mail, and you can introduce yourself via email to all the guests around 12 months. That gives guests usually 8 or 9 months or so to make payments towards their stay and make that commitment. Okay. So if you are going to do anything with the planning side, make sure you have a checklist with deadlines and make sure you have them sign off on anything finalized that you're involved in. Typically what I do if I introduce them to, what I will do, here's what I do when I'm doing like any offsite vendors or just vendors in general, their preferred vendors. I introduce the couple to them. I review everything with them. And normally the contracts are fine. There's nothing fishy. I've only caught like 2 or 3 contracts that were fishy. And then I'll say, like, you got to make all the decisions. That's in my contract anyway when a couple signs on with me. Like, you make all the decisions. But make sure you have deadlines. So here's a general list of deadlines if you care at all. Real easy peasy. 12 months out, these are my preferences. Then they're easy to follow. This is why I like the 15 to 18 month timeline. 12 months out, save the dates or at least in the mail. Their wedding date's clearly secured because they have the save the dates. Your room block is pretty well set up and you can send the email out inviting everyone to check out the booking page and start reserving their rooms. I like to do that starting around 12 months out. Like I said, gives people time to budget for the trip, understand like this is how much it's going to cost. I have this much time to save up, not necessarily hold their room, make payments towards me, or not me, the supplier for the room block. But they have that option as well. Okay. 9 months out, off-site vendors, specifically photography and videography services, because they are very popular and they do book up. And so you want around 9 months, they're securing that contract if they aren't the resort's preferred photography team. I don't like, excuse me, I don't like referring DJs. I just use the resort's DJ. I had somebody do that. They were in a Facebook group. Some other travel agency just collects commission off referrals from some fake DJ that got banned. And one of my couples hired that DJ. And I was like, don't do it, man. It's a trick. Did you not see this contract? Good luck getting your money back. And then he got banned from that property. And they lost that money. But so then I had to go to the resort and negotiate with them. Like, can you discount your DJ services because the stupid travel agency that thinks that they own your property is making commission off this other DJ who was drunk and setting off fireworks inside the ballroom. And that's why he got banned. Oh man, the stories. Anyway, they honored it. They're a really good company. Okay, 6 months out. This is when I like to have your final decor decisions done. Don't change anything because from here on out, it is confirming it with like the florist and the decorators. And there's often a language barrier. And don't make any last minute changes because it's going to confuse them and it's going to get more frustrating for you to have to constantly have the budget summaries updated and that you sign off on for the decor. And it's like, just have it done. Have the offsite vendors approved at this point. Like, just have it done. Don't worry about it anymore. Stop going on Pinterest. Stop going on TikTok and Instagram and getting influenced. 3 months. Finalize any offsite events. That's when you start the process. I typically don't get them finalized. Oh, it takes maybe a couple weeks, but that's when I start saying, hey, are you sure you want to do this private party boat excursion? Like, we need to get this deposited, make sure you have the date secured and have the head count. So I do things in between before that 3-month deadline. I should probably do an episode on the day of timeline. I'll do the day of timeline next. Oof. Okay. I'll do one on the day of timeline. Even though most of you are like, I don't care about any of this. So, as an example, if they want a private party boat, I like to ask them between this 3 and 6 month mark, are you considering this? Here's some companies I recommend. I can reach out to them, get updated brochures, whatever. Unless I already have them, then I just send them on. Do you want to do this just for the family and bridal party or just the family? Or do you want to do this for everyone as a thank you? I need to know these things. What day would you like to have this? And then I start communicating with that company to start setting that up. And if they're like, we're not sure who wants to go, then I create a form to send to all the guests and be like, are you going to do the boat ride or not? And sometimes the couples will just pay for the entire boat ride. Other times, the couple will pay for the boat ride in full for the private boat ride. And then they'll ask people to Venmo or Cash App or I don't know, whatever the heck they like to do. So then when I send out those forms, I want to make sure I know for sure if they have to pay the couple back, So I'll put something in writing like, if you are coming, please be sure to send $85 to the couple, no later than whatever the heck date, 30 days prior, like before they have to pay the full thing, and before we have to secure the final head count for the private party boat. So that way we can they can be like, oh yeah, I'm totally coming. But if they don't make payment arrangements with the couple, I don't want to risk that weird beef, right? So I have all that on the form as well. Those are the kinds of things I do in between. Okay, 2 months out, finalize the day of timeline. Day of timeline, I'll just do an episode on that tomorrow if you care about anything about destination weddings. And then 1 month out, I finalize my guest itineraries. I personally use Travefy. I think you can do the same thing in turn. And the grouped app is a really good resource as well for group travel management. So there's multiple ways to do it. So I will finalize the full itinerary of all of the events from the day of timeline, like pictures with mom, getting ready photos, first look with dad, whatever the heck that is they've got. And I'll go more in depth tomorrow, like I said. And the bride and groom get the entire thing and they approve the copy. They approve, this is good. And then I make the other Travefys and just drag and drop who gets what, right? Okay. Then I send everything out 2 weeks prior. I'm good to go. So that is a general planning timeline. If you do destination weddings, and they just have questions. Using this information to like kind of guide them is going to be very, very helpful for them to stay on track and be able to get everything paid and make sure that they get the vendors that they want. Because some of them do book out like a year in advance or close to it. That's why I'm saying the offsite vendors, specifically photographers, um, you want to do around 9 months out. It's very important to secure photography. I also I've got a planning timeline that I send to the couples, and I will have engagement photos like around 14 months out so that they can be on the save the dates if they want to or the invitations. And I have them start thinking about, do they want to use that same photographer for their destination wedding? So I have them thinking about photography like almost immediately. And here's why: because photography teams are not photography teams except at the resorts. When they're at the resorts, you can't guarantee a specific style or a specific flow. They have the same contracted out photographers, but they will have additional ones that are just like random photographers that get on the list, and they get paid as contractors, right? That's typically how most resorts work with their photography team. So you can't guarantee a specific outcome, editing style. You're only guaranteed so much time of coverage and then so many photos or whatever's in the package, right? And there's no like re-edits, whatever. And more people are like hyper specific on the style of photography. And when you get hyper specific, like I want editorial photo shoot, or I want it to be all candid, or I want a super romantic editing style, or hyper realistic, or like dark fantasy. Like photographers have different styles and different methods of how they shoot and do their editing. Um, and they're often like, oh, husband and wife team at best. That's why you need to, if they want offsite photography, you should consider 9 months. They should have that secured. Okay, that's that episode. You're like, I didn't care about any of this. I hope you found it interesting at least. And if you do, like, say you don't do a lot of destination weddings, but maybe you get one, I hope you can come back to this episode, drill it in your brain, day 156. Tomorrow, we're going to go over the timeline for a wedding day. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.